And we are live. I think we're live.
We are.
Okay, we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cosmic Countdown. This is week 3 of this program. I am joined today, as always, by my friend and co-host Aaron the Dog. I won't waste any time. It is great to see you. Thank you for being here again, my friend. How are you today?
I'm good. Chico, the dog, is here as well.
What up?
What up, Chico? I don't even have my background up. Oh, well, that's all good. Maybe I'll put it up. Maybe I won't.
No, please don't spare the audience your beautiful face.
Yeah, but man, I'm good. We're here for 90 to 86. We're into the 90s now. Been through 10 official movies, talked about 15 so far. Got another half year to go before the Cosmic Countdown is finished about. Life's good, man. Chico says what up. Jackie boy in the chat. Chico says what up. He's the real dog. He's the best. Man, I'm excited, as I will be every week for this, because another week away from MMA for me. We'll see when I return, pending possibly in January, but we'll see as the more and more fights get announced that make me want to honestly stay away. But this isn't about MMA. This is about the real thing, movies, the real ones, the movies. Really excited to be here, though, man. Thank you for having me, as always.
Dude, thanks for being here. I'm very excited. When we were doing the UFC show, that was the highlight of my week. This is like the highlight of my streaming week, and has been for the past couple weeks, man. I love talking movies and can truly do it all day. So we are here. This is week 3 of the Cosmic Countdown. Like Aaron said, is number 90 through 86, and I want to switch it up just a little bit today. So what I want to do today, I got Aaron's approval pre-show, but I'm going to start today, and I'm going to let ATD have the last word on the movie selections today. So that will be the lingering thoughts. So we will do that. But before we get kicked off here, I did not discuss this with you pre-show, but I want to put it to you and the audience, or whoever will view this right now. As you can see so far, so I'm gonna kick this one off, but as you can see, these are our lists so far. That is mine. This is Aaron the Dog's. So I'll bring this up because, as you can see, there are both asterisks and movies are now in bold. The movies that are in asterisks are movies that me and my dude have in common. Mm-hmm. They're similar. They're movies we both have on our list. But the ones that are in bold are the ones that have been punted. In other words, I have this on my list, but it is further up the list. So I've punted that, and we will revisit it when it gets there. I swear to God, I'm getting to a point. I know I'm a rambler, but I'm getting to a point here. I have a bold prediction for today. Now, you can see that Aaron's movie's there. I have punted on 2. True Romance and Jackie Brown. But I got a bold prediction today, ladies and gentlemen, and dogs and dogettes and all the other animal kingdom creatures. I got a bold prediction today. Today, I am ratcheting up the intensity. There ain't no bullshit on my list today. Every single one of my 5 today can be considered a classic, if not a cult classic, an all-time classic, whatever. I got 5 bangers today, and I have a bold prediction. I think that my friend Aaron the Dog is going to punt today. I think you're going to punt today, buddy. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I'm like 70% confident.
Interesting.
So
I don't think you're going to be punting on any of my movies. Maybe one. Otherwise, there's no chance you're punting on my list.
Nice, dude. I love that background. That's sick.
Yep. Shout out to Friday the 13th, like 2 good movies in the series, but, it still counts.
Fuck yeah.
What up, Noah?
What up, man? All right, got a couple homies in the chat. All right, I need to. I'm gonna take a toke real quick.
Please do.
have a casual talk with the boys. Cheers, gentlemen. Shout out to everyone that will come through. Please smash the like button. Admission is, of course, free, but it does require you to hit the like. And just make yourselves comfortable. Pack a bowl, crack a cold one, and get ready for the start of week 3 of the Cosmic Countdown.
Yeah, man. And this is for my list, English speaking only, just as a reminder. But a good movie, if you do happen to have Hulu or a torrent site or however you want to get this movie, Titan. Check it out. Titan with an E at the end of it. It's a French film, Julia Ducournau. It's about a woman who I don't want to give much away, but she does get impregnated by a car. And craziness ensues before, during, and after that. If you like David Cronenberg, this is a pure Cronenberg movie. The General, good to see you in the chat. Appreciate y'all. Smash that like button. Shout out to Mrs. 2 Cents for the background overlay as well.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Appreciate it. I decided to match it with the red today.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm excited about the list today. Definitely. I don't know how to describe my list today, but I do have a newer movie. I have something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Again, I think maybe we have one punt on my side, but otherwise we're not punting from my side. I can that. So looking forward to getting into the list. Looking forward to hearing you as you lead it off here. I don't know if I'm going to punt or not. I think if I had to line your prediction that I'm punting today, I'd put it at like a minus 150. So I'd say it's slightly favored, but I also, looking at my list, I have some movies you're supposed to have on there for sure moving forward. But I have a lot of movies that, maybe not. So it'll be interesting to see. If I punt, I've earned it because I have yet to punt on this show.
I know, dude. I'm like, maybe it's a little wishful thinking, but I will say this: I can guarantee that you have seen 4 out of 5 of these movies, probably 5 out of 5, but I'm guaranteeing 4 out of 5. And yeah, I'm not 100% confident in the punt, but
don't back off it now.
No, I know my little baby nuts.
Yeah, don't grovel.
No, you gonna punt, goddammit. All right, so let me take another toke, build up my courage here, and then we're gonna kick it off, boys. But yeah, get settled in. The show is about to begin. Make sure and don't turn your phones off. Turn your devices on and into this channel, and get loud in the chat. Let us know what you think. As always, just a little reminder, this is a judgment-free zone. These are our favorite movies, not quote-unquote the best. But I do have some good ones lined up today, and I will kick it off here in just 1 second. Make sure y'all check out Aaron wherever you can on social media. I put it up there, but just a little reminder. Check out
Why We Love Horror. New episode tomorrow. Because of Taylor Swift, there's no new horror in the theaters in October, which is ridiculous. So again, your boy's getting married in a couple weeks at the end of October. So we will have a week off at the beginning of November because I will be on my honeymoon. But we decided to go with a wedding related movie for this week to review. It's an older movie, not that old, only a couple years, but Ready or Not is going to be our review this week. Samara Weaving and others. If you haven't seen Ready or Not, I would highly recommend checking it out.
Ooh, is that the one where it's like a survival horror?
Yeah, it's like a horror kind of comedy where she gets married into this rich family. Part of the family's tradition is they draw a card and they play that game. And the one card you don't want to draw is hide and seek, because that means that they have to find and kill you. Because basically they made a deal with the devil a long time ago to become a rich family. If they don't do it, they all die. So she gets married into this rich family, not knowing what she gets into. And then it's basically like if you've seen You're Next or other movies like that.
Yeah. I love You're Next.
Yeah, it's like a comedic You're Next, essentially.
Fuck yeah.
So we decided in honor of the wedding, we would do a wedding horror movie, because I do the show Why We Love Horror with my fiance and my friend. two separate people. I'm not referring to my fiance as my friend, just to be clear, because I hate that shit. I'm marrying my best friend and shit.
My best friend. That's awesome, man. And so yeah, I'll put a little banner up for it. When do the premieres usually drop?
Thursday at 5 p.m.
Thursday.
So yeah, we don't go live with them. We edit them. We add a trailer usually that won't get copyright stricken. And so yeah, we put them up Thursdays at 5 p.m. Typically, we try to cover a new horror movie, but again, Taylor Swift made that impossible this week. So we are going with an older one, but When Evil Lurks is already on the channel. Many others. We were able to get our first review put back up, which I'm blanking on right now. But yeah, Ready or Not this Thursday.
There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth, direct from the source. Right. Primary information. All right. Okay, boys and girls, without further ado, let's kick this thing off, man. Let's do this thing properly. Let me pull up my notes. I took a ton of notes, and these are just kind of like stream of consciousness things that I write down as I did watch all these movies this week. I've not
love it.
I've done that for most of the movies so far, but I definitely did it for these. Because these are all, I think, classics that need to be watched very semi-regularly. So this one, the first one, is really a perfect one to kick this episode off with. Everyone make sure you smash the like button, please, Nike. This is a good one to kick off with because tis the season. It is this time of year. We are inching closer and closer to All Hallows Eve. It is Halloween season. It is the season for horror movies, spooky movies, and 'tis the season for slashers. As you can see, Aaron the dog has Friday the 13th in his background. That is a dope-ass slasher. I've not seen all the Friday the 13th, but I need to. Yeah, I like slashers, man. They are fun horror movies. The old lady loves slashers, so I can watch. It doesn't matter. The newest slasher comes out, I can always watch it with the missus. And shout out Lady TC. Yeah, this one is probably my favorite slasher. This is my favorite slasher, I would say, of all time. It is the first installment of probably one of the best slasher franchises. But it is my personal favorite. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you, for my number 90th pick, the Wes Craven modern classic, 1996's Scream.
All right. Scream is going to have to be a punt. Cash those minus.
Yes, let's fucking go, dude. Let's do it.
I can't deny the greatness of this movie. We will be talking about it many weeks from now.
Let's fucking go, dude. I love it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I haven't. Me and Lady TC watched Scream 2 a few weeks ago, but we watched Scream on Halloween. We watched Scream in October, like either last year or the year before, but it had been a while. And like I was saying, this is one of those movies. I feel like if you're not watching it every Halloween, it needs to be every other one, dude. It's so good. It's aged pretty well. It's got like
aged perfectly.
God, it's aged so well. But I won't. Since we're punting it, I will. I'm gonna have to. That's like the bittersweet part of it. Is I gotta save the tastiness for later. But dude, if y'all have not watched Scream in a while, I'm sure you've all seen it, dude. It's fucking good. It's hilarious. It's yeah. So we're punting on this, but yeah, let's fucking
Scream
go.
is definitely one. The more horror you watch, I think the better it gets because there's just so much you can pick up on. That's not just the obvious things that everybody's. But we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Eventually, I won't hint how far in the future, but yeah, we're punting. First punt.
Let's fucking go.
We might not talk much this episode. Who knows?
I'm sure. No one's going to be fucking crying over that. Everyone, I yak enough. So that's my number 90.
Nicely done. All right. Well, my number 90 will not be on your list. I'm fairly confident in this, and it isn't on many people's lists, but it should be. I love time travel movies quite a bit, and a lot of them just came short of making my list. Ones like Primer, Coherence, those are great ones, which you should check out for sure. But this one is it's starring Ethan Hawke, Sarah Snook from Succession fame, Shiv Roy on Succession, but she did this actually quite a bit before Succession in 2014, directed by the Spielberg brothers, which they've done a few good movies. They did Jigsaw, they did Daybreakers, which is an underrated vampire movie. This is Predestination from 2014. Have you heard of Predestination?
Not only have I heard of Predestination, but I fucking love Predestination. Predestination would 100,000% be in my top 200.
Yep.
Dude, this movie fucking rocks. Let me take.
Have you seen it more than one time?
Yes.
Okay, because it went up significantly on my second watch.
I feel like this is a movie that you almost need to see it more than once.
It is mind melting. It is what science fiction is all about to me. It's bringing a truly original, different idea. It's about an agent who's sent through a bunch of time travel journeys to prevent future killers from committing crimes, and he's on his final assignment with a certain killer that he's never been able to track down and stop. Sarah Snook is incredible in this movie as well. She plays a non-binary character, but this movie was in 2014, and it honestly does serve the plot quite well. And it's not played for like wokeness or anything like that. It really is played to further complex the issues of the characters, and it really is just a very, very. It reminds me a lot of Looper, except it came out before Looper.
Yes.
And I think it's way more complex than Looper. Like,
oh my god,
it truly is just a movie you can't like fathom completely on one viewing, in my opinion.
Dude, I had to study this movie to truly like. I had to do independent research to realize what the fuck I had just watched. Because you said it, dude. It will. You want to talk about a mind fuck? Like,
it's a mind melting movie, and I think a lot of people get frustrated by that. And another movie, you know, like it gets better on each watch to me. And I just think that the time travel element of movies has been so overdone at this point that it's really hard to do. But when it's done well, it really, really works.
It's really understated in this movie, and I like that about it. I really like it because the time travel, like, yes, it is. And this is a good one too, because if you haven't seen it, it's kind of like it's almost too complicated to spoil. Like, you know what I mean? Like to give this movie its true due and justice, and like really like I almost feel like we would need to do like a separate episode and just totally like like a totally like spoiler filled, like just like I would even backstage I would love to just talk to you about this movie more, because this movie is a total mindfuck, and one that like you need. There's
so many twists within the movie too, and going in blind is the way to go. So I saw Jack talking about Daybreakers being underrated. He's never heard of this movie. This is their best movie, for sure. Like it's so good, and yeah, it's like literally, it's just plot twist after plot twist. It's like how Tarantino throws around the N-bomb. I swear to God, that's how many plot twists are in this movie.
It's plot twists. It's like, well, I don't know. I don't want to spoil too much, but dude, this movie fucking rocks. I really like it, and I like watching it more than once, because once I saw it the first time, there was some stuff. It's like, okay, I don't have to like stress myself out being like, okay, I don't really understand that. Once you like understand a little bit more of some of it, it makes the secondary and third viewings like a little easier, and you can just watch it and appreciate it for what it is, and instead of trying to be like, what's happening here? Like you already kind of know, and it does benefit from multiple viewings. This movie kicks ass. I'm very chef's kiss for you having this on your list, my dude.
Yeah, so that's all I want to say about the movie. If it at all garners your interest, check it out, and don't look up anything about it if you can avoid.
Dude, you like plot twist, Jack? This movie has insane, and like Aaron said, there's more than one.
And it's not easy plot twists. Like they're not just given to you and then expository dialogue to explain what you've seen. You have to use your brain.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people who don't like it are just confused by it. And I mean, that's a personal preference, I guess, but I love it.
Dude, I was kind of how I described Rob Roy as like a very simple. This movie is. I do like movies like this sometimes because it really makes you think critically. It makes you go, "Holy shit!" in the moment, but then it makes you want to be like, "Okay, what? Like I've got to find out what just happened here. Like, what did I just watch? This is insane." Like but in a good way. It's like it's a movie that you almost have to watch more than once, but it makes you want to watch it more than once too because it's so fucking good.
Yep. Yeah, anytime I run into people and talk to them about this movie who've seen it, they kind of have the same reaction. It's definitely one of those movies that I don't quite get why it's not bigger than it is, other than that it's not for stupid people.
That's that book nail on the head.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
But it's not trying to show off its intelligence. It's just a great, like the acting is amazing in it as well. Yeah, really well written, just excellent movie.
Yeah, it's like it's a thinking man's sci-fi thriller for sure.
Yeah.
Good. Bravo. Good shit, man.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay, well, my next one isn't quite as highbrow, but it is also considered it's pretty highly thought of. And I had debated whether to put this on my list or not. But after watching it recently, and the more I thought about it and how fucking influential it is really like I could not leave it off. So we talked about this last week. It's another week and another Arnold flick. So this is another Schwartz flick. This is an 80s movie, another 80s Schwarzenegger joint. But what can I do? I am what I am. I'm obsessed with Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. I find them incredibly entertaining. A lot of them are just fucking classics. They're hilarious. They're badass. He's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, action stars ever. And this is one that I'll go ahead and say it. This is the one that really like kicked off his career. I'm talking about the 1984 Jimmy Cameron classic, the one that started it all, boys, the motherfucking Terminator.
Not on my list, but I respect it. I actually haven't seen this movie in way too long. But yeah, not on my list.
Yeah, and it's one of those like it's the reason I have it towards the back of my list is that I just like the second one so much fucking more. That's right. First of all. But every time I watch this movie, it's one of those where it's like, man, this is so good. Like, this is undeniably good for its time. I see the influence that it had. And I'm not even fucking looking at my notes. Let me look at my notes, man, because I did write down a bunch of shit. But this is a sci-fi classic. It's early 80s.
Great horror movie.
Dude, and that was one of my major like bullet points here. It's definitely more of a survival horror movie, particularly towards the end, much more so. Well, Terminator 2 does have elements of that, but the first one, man, it gets pretty horrific towards the end, man. Like, it's pretty fucking freaky.
100%.
Like, I mean, without spoiling it, dude, it does get pretty creepy at the end. While it's still Arnold, it's great. It's like the one-liners are there, but this is the one that kind of kicked it off. Like, I feel like this is one that people don't often watch this in chronological order. Like, a lot of people will see other Arnold movies and then watch the Terminator. So it's kind of like, I don't know, but everyone that like every older person I talk to, like I talked to my dad about this, my mom, anyone that's like was around when this came out and saw this in theaters was like, holy shit, this is crazy. So like, considering the time, it is pretty groundbreaking. I love all the flashbacks, like all Kyle Reese's flashbacks, like the future war that's taking place in whatever year, like 2019 or something,
right?
Whatever the year is, but I love those flashbacks, and a lot of people know this, but like that vision of like, or that like Kyle Reese's get up and outfit was used as like the Metal Gear Solid, whatever. Like they used that for the cover of Metal Gear Solid or something.
No, I didn't know that.
It's like, yeah, it's like a little nerd fucking like Easter egg or whatever. But yeah, the Terminator rocks, man. It's the police massacre, the police station shootout. Arnold is so badass during that whole sequence, dude. And I love that whole sequence. I love the flashbacks. I love the buildup, man. Like the Terminator is an exercise in tension building and then execution. It builds, and then boom, execute the fucking badass action set piece. And then build, boom, action set piece. And then it gets, like you said, it gets horrific at the end. So it's like, I love the buildup of the Terminator and Reese, like the showdown and Technor, all that stuff is awesome. Most everyone has seen the Terminator, but if you haven't, dude, you have to see this movie. If you like action movies, if you like sci-fi movies, it's set the bar very high at a pretty like, early age in this kind of this genre or whatever.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point. I saw this after the second one, and it's just after Terminator 2, and it was just like it did take it away from me as a kid. As a kid, I definitely just couldn't get past my love of, and even as an adult, can't quite get past my love of the second one and kind of the directions it took it. So when I went back to this one, I think I took a lot of it for granted because of what was presented in the second one, which is so much of what made the first one great. But it's one that I don't think it's revisited enough by people, interestingly enough. I think the simplicity is not a bad thing necessarily. When it's a classic, it's a classic. But for some reason, I feel like this is one of the simple classic movies that does get ignored for whatever reason, myself included. So it's due for a rewatch for me. It's probably been 20 years since I've seen it, but I know all the reasons it's great. It just, for whatever reason for me, it wouldn't be in my top 150, 200. And maybe if on a rewatch, it would be, because I'm thinking about it through the lens of a 13-year-old boy, essentially.
Right.
So, this is a great one. I do know that OJ was in line to be the Terminator before.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
OJ was originally supposed to be the Terminator. This one is just do a rewatch, plain and simple, because, what I do remember, I remember it being a lot uglier, a lot meaner, and a lot scarier than the second one, which are things I would like more now than when.
That's nightmare fuel, dude.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's still terrifying. And OJ, look it up. OJ was supposed to be a Terminator. Would have been hilariously different movie. But the killing of the cop scene would have been, pretty fantasy fuel for him. But yeah, Arnold, like in his lack of acting and his like alien presence, just it works perfectly for that role of like a cyborg trying to acclimate to Earth. And I do remember the gun scene at the gun store, that being like one of my favorite scenes.
The phased plasma rifle in the 30-watt range. He's like, just what you see, pal.
Yeah. And then he just like loads it right in the store and just blasts them. Like, okay.
You can't do that. Wrong. Boom.
But yeah, no, it's a good one. It wasn't ever in consideration for my list, but need to rewatch it as well as an adult. And I think I'll probably appreciate the simple elements a lot more than I did as a kid.
Shout out to Stan Winston. I will say this: some of the like stop motion stuff, it's like, okay, I can clearly tell that that's not Arnold, but I can impress. It's got this like great campy quality to it now as well. It's like it's a great grimy early '80s movie, and like it's grimy, dude. Like Reese gets spoiler alert, he gets dropped off in the middle of a fucking alley, steals a bum's clothes, and he's like rocking like homeless gear and shit that he stole. It's like, but it is like less is more with this one, and like you said, it's simple. It's like it's nothing like overly fancy. It's just well executed, and it hits, and like it's got some classic one-liners, and yeah, nice night for a walk.
Love it. Yeah, no, I love it, man. And honestly, I think like the weirdness of the stop motion might kind of add to the creepiness.
Oh, dude, totally, especially at
It
the
doesn't
end,
look so smooth.
especially at the end.
Yeah, like I'm a huge fan of stop motion. I love when movies use it today effectively still. I know it's so much more work as well. And yeah, the CGI of the second one almost takes away the horror elements and it makes for a more entertaining movie in a lot of ways. But other than, we'll talk about T2 when we get to it. But yeah,
Right.
I do more respect the Terminator, the original, than I like it, but I haven't seen it in years. So I'd do a rewatch, and October be a perfect time for it because it is.
It is, dude. It is a great time, and it is way more of a horror movie than the first one. And it's like
the second one.
It's stalker, like relentless, like killer, just trying to fucking murk you, and like yeah. And I do understand that like it's for a lot of people, it's a movie to be more like appreciated than like beloved. The reason I did put it on my list is like. My dad got me on the Terminator from like I saw T2 first, but then like my dad he's like, no, the first one's good too, son. And I was like, well, the first one. And I was like, no, there's no first one. It's like just you don't need any other ones. Just Judgment Day. And he was like, no, the first one. So it does have some nostalgia for me. But yeah, had to make the list, and it's pretty freaky, especially
I like it.
Climax.
I like it. All right, my number 89 is the most recent movie on my list. It is a 2023 movie. It's my favorite movie of the year, obviously, and it's already made my top 100. It's from a director who I'm going to talk about at least one more time on this list. Guy's only made, I believe, 3, maybe 4 movies. It is by director Ari Aster. I refer to him as Ari Master. This guy is awesome. And it is Beau is Afraid, Joaquin Phoenix starring joint. If I had to describe this in simplest terms, I'd describe it as a Jewish Lord of the Rings. It's absurd. It's surreal. It's Freudian. It's an odyssey, satirical, black comedy, psychosexual complex, horror, family trauma, generational trauma, immersive anxiety attack, work of art. I don't know how else to really describe it. If you're out there and you don't have anxiety, I'm happy for you. And this movie ain't for you, straight up. Like you're not gonna get it. You're not gonna feel it. Yeah, it's about a paranoid man who embarks on a journey, epic odyssey, as it's put, to get home to his mother, his Jewish mother. So, had just a lot of relatable elements to it. Ari Aster has a very messed up mind. And he gets a lot of it out through creating therapy. This movie is over 3 hours long, or nearly 3 hours long. It's 179 minutes, so just short of 3 hours. It is gratuitous. It's all through the eyes of the main character, Beau. So the way he's viewing the world might not be accurate, but to him, like the streets are on fire. There's like a naked guy with a knife trying to get after people. He keeps trusting the wrong people. He's getting guilt tripped by his mom. Something happens with his mom and she ends up dying. So his trip home to see his mom turns into a trip home to her funeral. Bunch of fucked up shit happens from there. Joaquin Phoenix puts on an incredible performance in the movie. Nathan Lane is also hilarious. It's just a very dark, it is the best horror movie of the year. Hasn't been a good year for horror, honestly. But this is, I would consider, definitely a horror movie. It's just basically about his darkest fears becoming his greatest adventure. It is just, I mean, it holds nothing back. It's very, very authentic as well. Like if you don't get this movie, you're not going to enjoy it. I think most people out there will be able to get it on some level, maybe not as much as I did. Yeah, I laughed in the movie. I cried in it. I was sweating. I mean, I went in with really high expectations as well because of his previous couple movies, which I won't talk about yet, but I'll be talking about later on. And this might be my favorite of the bunch as time goes on. But for now, it is at my number 89 spot, 2023's Beau is Afraid. It just, I don't really know what other movies to compare it to, but it's basically a Jewish anxiety Lord of the Rings.
That is awesome, man. Sorry, I've been fucking with the banners here. So this is I've been compiling a watch list of 2023, and Beau is Afraid is right at the top of the list, man. It's Aster Don't Really Miss, and
he's literally all of his 3 of his movies have gotten 5 stars from me so far.
Dude, Hereditary is one that will never leave. The ending of Hereditary will never leave me till my dying day.
Yep, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about Midsommar later. Beau is Afraid. It's on that pantheon. This guy doesn't miss. Joaquin's performance in it won't win an Oscar because a movie like this, no way it will. But it's such a great performance. It has some incredible moments where it goes into some stop motion, some different kind of effects as well. It's basically broken down into 4 segments essentially, and it is gratuitous. It is maybe too long, but that's part of the point. And honestly, it's for a very intentional effect. And it's a wild watch.
I'm gonna have to, man, especially hearing what an experience it is. I do like movies like that every now and then, where it's okay, just get settled in and just
3 hours, and it's all gas, no brakes.
Fuck yeah, Jack, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you need to see Hereditary as soon as the stream's done. That is one of the best horror movies of this century.
It is unsettling. That's awesome, man. Makes me want to watch. I can't put it any higher on my watch list, but I need to fucking watch it.
Yep, it's great.
Shit, that's good shit, my dude.
Number 1 of 2023 by far.
Man, damn it. Okay, all right. Well, I'm gonna try and follow that. This next one for me. Of all the genres of movies that I like, top 3 would be action. I don't know where exactly I would place it, but your boy TC is an action movie junkie. That should come as no real big surprise to anybody, but it's true. I love action movies. This is an action movie through and through. It is one of the best action movies of the last 15 years. There have been many, what's the word? Bars, I guess, or watermarks set for action movies, like movies that change the game, or this sets the level, or what I'm trying to say. This sets the bar this high, whatever. This movie qualifies as that. Like I said, one of the best action movies that's come out in the last 15 years. The protagonist is portrayed by someone I think Arnold is one of the best action stars. I think this dude is also one of the best action stars. This is another movie like Scream that is the first installment of a very successful franchise. And without further ado, I'll just go ahead and hit you with it. This movie fucking rocks. This dude is a kick-ass action star, and this is a kick-ass movie. Ladies and gentlemen, my number 88th favorite movie is I'm going to call it a modern classic. That fucking Nobody is John Wick.
Yep. It's not on my list, so please, but it's Chico's favorite movie.
Chico, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
I knew I liked you, Chico.
It's not even my favorite John Wick movie, if I'm giving a hot take.
And you know what? That's cool, because that's what is so great about this franchise.
This one's gotten Terminatored, I think, because of how basic it is.
It's like there was not a John Wick movie that missed.
No.
That's pretty rare too.
Yeah.
Usually, even if the second one's, even if you get a good sequel, it drops off pretty significantly for the third and fourth, but it did not whatsoever.
No.
Each John Wick movie can stand alone as itself and be appreciated, and like people have their favorites, and like you can't really like push back too much because they're all like kind of like, holy shit, this is an incredible action movie.
Yeah.
But The Porridge is just right for me here, for a couple different reasons. It, like I said, it did set a new standard for definitely for gunfight scenes. Like the gunfight scenes are incredibly well executed, and all the action in general, it's all shot by, directed by, choreographed by Chad Stahelski and David. I don't know if it's Leitch or Leitch, whatever. Only Stahelski is credited with it, but they co-directed this movie. They're both stuntmen. If people don't know, Chad Stahelski has been Keanu Reeves' stunt double for a long time. They worked together in The Matrix and some other movies. He's an established Hollywood stuntman, very well respected. And I mean, you can see why. Like the gunfights, the knife fights, the fist fights. It's a good blend of all of it. But he went for a more realistic look. Not a whole lot of shaky camera, just keeps the camera right on the action scene so you can see what the fuck's happening. It doesn't look hokey. It looks like it's like some action movies, you watch them and it's like, dude, I know what this motherfucker's about to throw. It's like they do it so slow. This movie is crisp, realistic looking, well shot, and it's just a badass action movie. And I said this on my build-up or whatever, like Reeves is a great action star, and this was just like another feather in his cap. It had been a while since he had come out with like a banger when this did drop in 2014, but he's really good in this. Like he's stoic, yet he's vulnerable. And dude, I love that in an action hero. I don't want Steven Seagal, who doesn't get touched, mows through everybody, no problem. Like John Wick gets his fucking ass beat in this movie. Like he gets beat up, thrown off fucking buildings, shot, stabbed, hit with cars. Like he gets fucked up in this movie, and they make it seem pretty realistic. Like, okay, like yeah, he would be fucked up, but he could, like, you know, I guess if you stitch him up, blah blah blah, whatever. But I like that, man. I like that he's like for all the crazy shit that he does and how high the body count, they make it seem almost believable. Like, okay, I could see how that could happen if you were this like 1% lethal fucking hitman. So yeah, given the body count and the level of carnage, they keep it pretty like grounded. Because of the execution. Excellent world building. This movie is less than 2 hours long, and they set up the foundation for this great franchise, like just one after the other, and they laid the groundwork here in less than 2 hours.
Yeah. And everybody is so hateable who's supposed to be hateable in this movie. Dean Winters, a.k.a. Ryan O'Reilly from Oz, is in this movie. Alfie Allen, also known as Theon Greyjoy, is in this movie. And he's basically playing Theon from Game of Thrones just in, like, modern time. He's just like an idiot who, like, you killed his dog. And, like, Ian McShane, I mean,
oh my God! Like Ian, I cannot say enough good things about Ian McShane. He kills it in this as Winston. John Leguizamo is great. They got great work out of all the character actors.
Honestly, the cast is what makes this first movie for me. Because,
yes, sir.
Like it really, I do think, you know, I kind of see what Jack's talking about. The vengeance element of it was a little bit almost too basic for me in this first one, but he obviously continues to go after this vengeance. It's not done with one, but as a standalone itself, I do think that's one of my biggest problems with it. And Talk to Me, I'm glad that Jack saw Talk to Me. Talk to Me is amongst my favorite horrors of the year as well.
Nice.
But yeah, no, and I mean, this one, they kept the action, you know, more effective, I think, than some of the later ones, but the world building in some of the later ones, I think, is what ends up getting me more invested.
I agreed. So this one, and I, to your point, yes, like if this stood alone, the premise would have ended up probably being pretty basic. Like, but they do lay good groundwork. And although it is like pretty like, okay, they're just hitman getting revenge. Like, okay, how many times have we seen that? But what does set this apart, not only the world building, but the execution of the action scenes. And one thing that I've always said, and this is an element that does set this apart, and I will stand on this. This John Wick movie has the greatest John Wick villain. Every good hero needs a good villain. R.I.P. to the massively underappreciated and underrated Swedish actor Michael Nyqvist. Nyqvist, however you pronounce it. He fucking kills it as Viggo Tarasov in this movie. He steals every fucking scene he's in. He's a believable badass, but he's this like eccentric, wily, like pretty hilarious dude. I cannot say enough good things about his role in this movie. It is his like piece de resistance, and he played a great like counterpart to John Wick, and I think he was like a huge part of why this movie is like why the porridge is just right for me here. I thought they had a great relationship. Like, this is a dude that like, okay, I selfishly, like, you're my guy, you're my fucking hitman. Like, you can do anything I fucking ask you to do. Wick just, it's like he wants to get out. He's like, okay, you have to do this impossible fucking task, and he fucking like. I loved their relationship, and yeah, like, dude, you mentioned Alfie Allen. He's like you said, like you love to hate him. He's such a sleazeball. Like, it's this. Yeah, I love this fucking movie.
Yeah. And yeah, Jack, you're up to 4 movies you have to watch, and the last one was almost 3 hours long. But
worth it if you like
it. Once you get rolling on the series, I don't think you'll stop it. Honestly, I do. I think they improve upon each other, even if the first one is some people's favorite. I get it. I know a lot of people. It's the 4th or 3rd one. I love the second one personally.
I own the second one on Blu-ray. The second one is great with Common.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Common.
There's some great fight scenes in that movie.
Yeah, I agree, and again, they keep the villains very, very hateable. And yeah, since 2014, there's 4 of these movies that have come out. Meanwhile, 1 Predestination. But oh well. C'est la vie. All right, my number 88. Didn't mean to do it. Yeah, Talk to Me will be a good franchise, I think. But I wish they would leave it alone. But I think they're going to keep going with it, honestly. My number 88 is a movie from 1988. And this is the only one that has a chance at making your punt list for my 5 for 2.
Oh, shit.
It is John Carpenter. It is Roddy Piper. It is Consume, and Consume. They Live is my number 88 movie. John Carpenter, masterwork here. I just think it combines the social criticism with the ideological, ideas of that only an auteur like a Carpenter can do. And Carpenter's just so good as amazing kind of trash elements to it. Crazy fight. You want to talk about a crazy fight scene? The fight scene in this movie is one of the most legendary of all time. And it's so entertaining as well. And it's really not a fast-paced movie, but it's about a drifter who comes across a pair of sunglasses that allows him to see the truth about those who advertise to us and our politicians. They're all basically soul-sucking aliens. And you want to talk about a movie that has not aged a bit since it's come out. Everything about it has just come to fruition more and more. Yeah, we are all asleep, and we all need to wake up, put on our sunglasses, and wake up, because otherwise the world continues to go into the direction I think it's gone, basically. And I love the music in this Casio keyboard. I love the look of it. I love the performances by Keith David, Roddy Piper. Meg Foster is an absolute 80s babe. And it's just, I just think so much that makes John Carpenter. He's such a unique presence, and I truly think this is his masterpiece, along with maybe one other. So, yeah, They Live. It's a movie that the first time I saw it, I really did love it, but as I've gotten older and revisiting it, it's gotten better and better. realize. Basically, just a perfect classism masterwork commentary, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and it's just, I mean, I just don't have anything negative to say about this movie. Roddy Piper should have continued to do movies because he was so great in this movie. R.I.P. Roddy Piper. But yeah, I mean, you just can't, I think, beat this movie. I think it's one of the best social commentary movies of all time, and it hits you over the head with the message, and it's still great. So yeah, I absolutely love They Live. I love John Carpenter. There's many movies from his filmography that could have made my list. The Thing, Halloween, but this to me is the one for me. So yeah, man, I love They Live. It just gets better with time, and unfortunately more accurate with time. So not sure if you're back yet or not, 2 cents, but
yeah, no, I'm back, dude. I love it, man. This is not on my list, but it is one that, like,
I'm surprised.
Like the Terminator for you, it's like, dude, you cannot. If you are like someone that appreciates movies, like the kind of movies that we like, dude, you cannot like hate on They Live. It, like you said, dude, it is getting better and like eerily more accurate. Like the social commentary and shit is like, holy fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
This is coming true.
It truly is. Yeah. And it's like one of the realest movies, I think, ever to be made.
It's badass and hilarious, and the fight scene really is incredible. Like it is one of the best. Are you talking about the one in the alley?
Yep. Oh yeah, of course. The 8-minute fight scene.
They just don't make them like
marry and reproduce. I'm just following in the footsteps now. I'm just doing the same, just what they told me to do.
Yep. Yeah, great one, man. It is, dude. It truly is. Yep. It's not on my list, but it would be there. It would be in the top 200. Probably on the back end of the top 200, but it would be there.
Fair enough.
It's that good, and it is like it rocks. Like it's a movie too that like you don't have to necessarily be in, like, it's very rewatchable. It's very easily digestible and rewatchable, I feel like. Mm-hmm. It's one of those, like, I can kind of throw it on at any time. I don't have to be like in a certain mood to kind of just like it just can kind of watch it whenever.
Where'd you get those sunglasses from? The two. Like, it's just like John Nada, one of the best characters of all time, just a wise ass drifter.
Yeah, and it's one of those, like, he didn't have very many acting roles, but like just so good in that one.
Yeah. I would not have thought that. I would have never thought to cast Roddy Piper, and that's why John Carpenter's the GOAT.
John Carpenter is a fucking G.
Yeah. He's so much more than Halloween. So much more than The Thing.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's definitely going to be. You ain't heard the name. This is not the last you heard the name John Carpenter on this show.
Rightfully so.
So, my number 87. I really struggled with slotting this week. Like, I knew it was one of these, but I had trouble like ranking it. Like, it was somewhere. It wasn't my like absolute favorite of this 5, but it wasn't like it was closer towards the top. But I was just like, fuck, where do I put this one, man? Mm-hmm. But ultimately, like, what landed it where it did, it's my number 87. It might not be your favorite. It might not be in anyone's top 100. This is another movie that a lot of people will say it's more to be like respected and appreciated than like beloved. But for me, this movie really, like, not the entire thing, but there are parts of this movie that really just stir me emotionally and like existentially. And there's like certain moments in this movie where it's just like, I don't know, man, just like you can't really describe it, but it's just like, wow. Mm-hmm. And you'll know what I'm talking about when I unveil it. But this is a classic. This is an 80s movie. And speaking about movies that like how well they age, dude, I keep watching this movie and waiting for it to like look dated, and it just keeps looking better. Not only does it like hold up, like, oh, that doesn't look bad, like it keeps looking better. This is another classic. This is another 80s classic. This came out before The Terminator, but this absolutely changed the game. I would probably need more time to give this movie the credit it deserves. But number 87, for me, again, had a tough time slotting this, but ultimately why it closed in at 87 was because of the impact, the questions it both asks and not really answers, but just kind of makes you think about it. It's just a fucking deep ass, powerful ass movie to me. People can say whatever they want about it, but it's one of my favorite movies. It is a sci-fi classic. Number 87 for me is the 1981 Ridley Scott masterpiece, Blade Runner.
Yep, I'm in the respect camp with this one. Blade Runner 2049 for me, but yeah, I respect this one a lot. I will be honest, the first few times I watched it, it put me to sleep. And I don't know if it's just, I don't know what it is about the movie. I don't know if it's the score by Vangelis or what it is, because I do love the score, but it's almost soothing to a fault. When I finally got through this movie, though, when I finally got through that first like 30 minutes or so and I finally watched it, I love this movie. And I think Harrison Ford was a perfect role for that. That's just like Arnold was for his role. The script, obviously the speech with the tears in the rain. Rutger Hauer, one of the best speeches of all time. And I mean, it's a sci-fi classic. And I like not knowing the answer to whether or not he's a replicant, because I don't think that's the important question.
It's not. I mean, I can tell you the answer because I've delved into it, but it's not important. It's really not. It's not, because this movie, and you touched on some of the things, like the reason why it's considered a classic. Like I don't have enough time during this stream, and neither does Aaron, to for me to give Blade Runner its just due. But these are some things that I wrote down, and I already kind of alluded to them. This movie is a fucking work of art. Whether it's your favorite movie, whether it's like and putting you to sleep is a common criticism of this movie, and that's very fair. There are some parts of this movie that drag and move very slow. Rachel playing the piano, I get it.
It's dark for so much of the movie. I mean,
it's very atmospheric. It doesn't move at the fastest clip.
Nope.
But if you can appreciate a slow moving, like richly, I mean, I can't like the talking about the set designs and all that. It is a work of art, and it is undeniably one of the most influential sci-fi movies since it came out. Like it really did. You can see traces of Blade Runner in many, like,
yeah.
It is a truly like one of the most like beautiful, like kind of depressingly accurate, like futuristic vision. Maybe not accurate, but like that is what I can see the distant future looking like.
No, I agree. I agree completely.
And it does take a few viewings to truly appreciate Blade Runner. It is the thematic elements to me. It's the questions it raises. Obviously, Rutger Hauer's performance, you mentioned it.
Yeah, Tears in the Rain speech is one of the best speeches of all time in any movie.
It is, and it's not just the acting. It's not just Rutger Hauer's performance. It's the subject matter. It's what does it mean to be alive?
Yep.
What does it really mean to be human? One, and what is life like? What does it truly mean to exist? Like, and the choices that Roy Batty makes at the end of the movie, and the speech, and like I get choked up every single time, man. Like it is a very deep, stirring movie for me, and every time I watch it, I'm like, okay, like I see all the criticisms. I see why people think it's overrated. That's fine. It doesn't bother me one fucking bit. I truly, I mean, the behind the scenes, the tumultuous behind the scenes, like saga between Harrison Ford and Ridley Scott is well documented. I won't bore you with that, but I almost think that it does help Harrison Ford's performance because he's almost like this, like jaded, gruff, like I don't give a fuck about this anymore. All I'm good at is killing these fucking like replicants, and like he has to ask all these tough questions, and the relationship with Rachel complicates things. Like I said, I don't have enough time to talk about it and truly like give this movie its just flowers, but like I fucking love this movie. I do hold it near and dear to my heart, and I could not keep it off my list. Like I fucking love Blade Runner.
Yeah, Jack has not seen Blade Runner. That is blasphemy. You're terrible, Jack.
Jack, were it not for how long we've known each other and for how high
the way Roy's looking at the screen right now is how I should be looking at Jack. All side-eyed and just disappointed.
Dude, attack ships on fire. Are you kidding me? But yeah,
I love 2049 too, man. I do think that did justice for the sequel.
I cannot comment yet.
Denis Villeneuve's a man.
I cannot comment on that yet. Hint,
very nice.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Hard Target. That just came short on making my list, Jack. No joke. I love Hard Target and Sudden Death for Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Hard Target, and Sudden Death are both.
Sudden Death is maybe my favorite Jean-Claude movie.
In the hockey rink? Oh, yeah. Dude, I love that fucking movie, man.
Yeah, where he plays goalie at one point. Oh,
dude, I love the fight in the kitchen. Dude, I love
the penguin.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. All right. So we go from your highbrow as political, philosophical Blade Runner to my number 87, which is probably the hardest I've ever laughed in theaters. Came out when I was 13 years old in 2002. This, to me, is the best spoof movie of all time, the best comedy I've seen in theaters in a long time, and I've revisited it. It still makes me laugh. It is Malcolm D. Lee's directed Undercover Brother. Have you seen Undercover Brother?
Is Undercover Brother
with Eddie Griffin? Eddie Griffin. Dave Chappelle's in it as well. Neil Patrick Harris plays Lance. They're white. So basically, I'll explain it to you.
I remember the Chappelle being in it. Yes, I vaguely remember this.
Yeah, this is Austin Powers, but for black people, essentially. It's about an Afro-American organization called the Brotherhood, which is an acronym. I forgot what all the letters actually stand for, but it's called the Brotherhood. It's permanently fight against a white organization, the Man, defending the values of black people in North America. They have a presidential candidate played by Lando Calrissian's own, blanking on his name right now.
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams plays him, and he's a general who's running for president. They start to notice he's acting really strange, trying to get everybody to eat fried chicken, which they find out is has a brain control element to it. And he basically, it's an ode to 70s blaxploitation brought into the present world. He has to go undercover as a black dude, like who's just part of white society. So they like hook him up to this like brain machine at one point, and he's like got to learn how to like mayonnaise on everything.
Oh my god!
People don't like mayonnaise. He's got to like watch every episode of Friends. It's just like, it is so fucking, he falls in love with a white woman in it because that's black man's kryptonite. The white woman's played by Denise Richards. It's so accurate. I grew up with a lot of black friends. And so like, I know when movies try to act like they know black people, I almost have a sensitivity to it, like as if I was black. And I know when it's done authentically and made fun. In this movie, it just bit after bit, it is so funny. There's one point where like the way they get into like secret doorways in the Brotherhood is a black hand comes out and they have to like start doing like a dap up hand.
Dap.
It's just like, I mean, it's just like throughout the movie. I was 13 years old when I saw this, and I don't think I've ever laughed in a movie harder from start to finish. This is my Austin Powers. Like, this to me should have been a franchise. It is brilliant. Like, when he's getting all this white shit inducted into his head, like he's Blanca from Street Fighter. He starts to freak out, and he's just like, Caucasian overload. Like, it's so funny. Chris Kattan is amazing in it as well. There's ridiculous fight scenes. They make fun of the Matrix. It's just it is a silly movie that I think holds up today, which is hard for comedies to do. And I don't know why they didn't make more. It is like a big, long Chappelle Show skit. It really is. It's on that level of like the real Black World or whatever you want to compare it to.
I remember this. Like this, all like I'm looking at like the trailer now, and it's like I remember this shit, but I never saw it, and I have to know.
It's so funny. Like, it is so fucking funny, and I like it more than most people I know. So it had to make my top 100. Undercover Brother.
That's awesome, man. Well, dude, this is another reason why we're friends and we're cool, because you're giving me all these like tight ass recs that I can check
86 minutes. It's 86 minutes. Like, it will breeze by. It is so funny. This should have, actually Malcolm D. Lee did do one of the Scary movies. He did Scary Movie 5, whichever one that was. And unfortunately, he did the new Space Jam. So unfortunately, this director never did anything as dope as this. So this is as good as it gets for Malcolm D. Lee. But yeah, man, Undercover Brother. Anybody who knows me and knows my love of movies knows I've brought this up. And yeah, that I am probably one of this movie's biggest stands. So you won't see a lot of people within their top 100. I'm not a lot of people though. So yeah, Undercover Brother is solid.
Nice, dude. That's what's up, man. Fuck yeah. Well, dude, thank you, and everyone else. Thank you for these blessings, dude. Blessing the fucking show with these good recommendations. So, my number 86. I will not be surprised at all either way. Like if you say you've seen this or haven't seen this, it is definitely considered a cult classic, but it is one that like quite a few people haven't seen. But yeah, this is a hipster alert. And I see you, Daniel. What's up? Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to the Dome and everyone that's come through. Y'all the shit. So this one is considered a cult classic. This is the hipster alert. I got a little hipstery with Bone Tomahawk. I believe, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe this was an independent film when it came out. This is a late 90s jank. And I love that you said that you like, Black culture movies. This could definitely be considered a Black gangster movie, but this is a movie that's kind of a like blending of genres, I would say. So let me see. You want to make sure that I got all my notes for this one. So yeah, this is definitely, you could say it's a hipster pick. This director in particular is a like film student hipsters type of director. It's talked about in those kind of circles, but to me, this movie is one of his best. This is a gangster movie. It's a samurai movie. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the late 90s Jim Jarmusch directed, Forrest Whitaker starring Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai.
Not on my list, but I love this. I love the selection. Love this movie.
If you guys like those kind of movies, I would highly, highly recommend this one. This is one of my brother's favorite movies. I actually think that he is the one that introduced me to this, but it was when I was in my like late teens, early 20s. I was definitely out of high school, stoner that loves to watch movies. Like I said, my brother was taking this like film appreciation class or whatever. And I think that's how he got onto like Jarmusch and his films. There is one other Jim Jarmusch movie on my list. It's quite a bit further up the list, but dude, I fucking love this movie. The premise is fairly straightforward. Forrest Whitaker plays a New Jersey-based hitman. He is a bodyguard or retainer for a local Italian mobster, but the difference between him and every other hitman is that he follows the warrior code, the code of the samurai, the Bushido, and that element sets it apart. But it's just a really fucking cool movie. Like, RZA is in the movie and does the soundtrack.
Amazing soundtrack.
It's incredible, dude. There's like spoiler alert. There's like, and this is very soon into this, like 10 minutes into the movie. There's like a whole like 2-minute sequence where he like boosts a car and is just like riding through New Jersey at night, bumping Wu-Tang and just scanning the streets. Like, just it's this is another one where it's kind of like a piece of art. But this movie really resonates with me through and through from beginning to end. Like I said, if you like these kinds of movies, like either like black gangster movies, Italian gangster movies, samurai movies in general, like, this movie fucking rocks. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor. It's a cool movie. It's like a very
chill.
Yeah, it is very chill. And I won't waste time going into like the allegories and like all the little Jim Jarmusch Easter eggs and like all that shit and like the thematic elements and stuff. But it's a badass movie. It's really fucking cool. And I'll recommend it to anybody that'll fucking listen.
Yeah, man. I love Jim Jarmusch. This is Jim Jarmusch's most action-packed movie, and it's still incredibly chill. It's still like just, I don't know how he thought that he would be the guy for this. And if you would have told me that before I saw it, I was not as sure. But after seeing it, I'm a believer. Forrest Whitaker puts on a great performance. The man loves his birds. Don't fuck with a man's birds. There's a lot of similarities between this and John Wick. I think this would be in some ways.
Agreed.
The man of the principle, just the approach is completely different. But great selection. Never would have pegged you as a Jim Jarmusch guy. So I'm excited to see the other Jarmusch that makes the list. But yeah, great movie. The soundtrack rips too. RZA is just so good in this.
It's sick.
Kevin Holland's favorite movie. Oh, well, that can't hold everything against the movie. All right. Well, this brings me to my final movie on my list for this week, number 86. I brought up Brian De Palma last week with Carrie. I'm bringing up Brian De Palma again this week. This is Brian De Palma's most underrated movie for sure. It completely caught me off guard when I watched it a few years ago. I just watched it because I love the 70s. It's from 1974. This movie, I feel, belongs in the pantheon where Rocky Horror Picture is. This movie should be viewed in movie theaters at midnight with a crowd singing along to it, with a crowd following along to it. Have you heard of Phantom of the Paradise?
No.
Exactly. So this is like a rock opera hybrid. I'm not a big musical guy at all. The music in this movie is so damn good. As soon as I was done, I listened to the soundtrack for probably 2 weeks straight. It's Phantom of the Paradise. So it's like Phantom of the Opera, but it's a play on Phantom of the Opera and another musical known as Faust. It's about a singer-songwriter who finds himself double-crossed by a nefarious music producer named Swan, who steals both his music and his girl, and he wants to sing about it, basically. And after Swan sends Leech to prison for trespassing, Leech endures a freak accident. It makes him disfigured. And basically, it's a play on the Phantom of the Opera. He's now wearing a mask, and he becomes this character, and he just plans his revenge on both Swan and the Paradise by becoming the Phantom of the Paradise. The music in this is some of my favorite music of all time. It's such a fun time as well. It is a ridiculous movie. It has absolutely no rules to it. I mean, it's just but the music, it's just so good. It's such a bizarre masterpiece, something I wouldn't have thought I would love. It has all of the greatest impulses of Brian De Palma, all of the tricks of him brought together here in such a different way. And I'd love to see this on a big screen at some point because I think that would do it such justice. I think this is just one of the best films of all time, let alone it's my favorite musical of all time. Not even close. This movie is just wild. It's got so much heart. It's got so much humor to it. William Finley's in it. Paul, not a lot of well-known people, but Phoenix, played by Jessica Harper, she's an amazing female kind of focus in the movie. It's so hard to explain. It's so oddly structured, but the editing is so great. And it's just like, even for people who aren't big Brian De Palma fans, they'll be like, well, watch Phantom of the Paradise, because it's nothing like any of his other stuff. And if anything, it will make you realize how great he is. Somehow this movie got a PG rating. I don't know how. It's like, it is a better Rocky Horror Picture Show. In every way, it's more accessible, but still really, really pushes the boundaries of what a movie can do. And it came out the year before Rocky Horror Picture Show as well. So I do believe that Rocky Horror took quite a bit of inspiration from this movie. And it's just not, you will, even if you're not into musicals, and I'm not sold you on it by how I've kind of rambled here, give it a shot and it will surprise you. I guarantee it. It is seriously one of my favorite first-time watches of the last 5 years, easily.
I'm intrigued, to say the least. I do, like, I wouldn't put Rocky Horror Picture Show anywhere on my list, but I've seen it before, and it's enjoyable. And but I'm very intrigued because I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the poster, and it just looks crazy.
It is just a wild movie, but and the way it's edited is so different. It goes into so many different genres of music as well. It goes into like 50s doo-wop, it goes into classic rock, it goes into ballads, it goes into so much more. And like, I literally listened to the soundtrack for probably, as soon as it was over, I found the soundtrack, listened to it for weeks on end afterwards. And it's not a movie that I again, Rocky Horror Picture Show, it's fine to me. Like, I'm not into Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm not really into musicals particularly that much either. And when I put this on, I was like, all right, I'll watch it, but like, I'm not expecting to, like, how much could I really like this movie? Right. I love this movie. Love it. And it's probably too low on my list, honestly. But it doesn't get easier from here with the final 85. So had to go somewhere. It's probably honestly too low on my list, which I hope doesn't affect people checking it out. But Phantom of the Paradise, check it out. It's 90 minutes long. It will put you in a good mood, man. And it's got some really crazy elements to it. And if nothing else, the music fucking rips.
Nice, dude. Oh, well, TC likes a short running time too. I can appreciate a longer movie, and I can sit through one definitely, but I love a short running time.
I mean, you can watch this and Undercover Brother, and it's less time than Beau is Afraid.
Oh shit,
that's a great night right there.
Hell yeah, dude.
Very weed friendly movie.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. I gotta watch Beau is Afraid tonight. I'm gonna watch this one too. I'm definitely you sold me. I'm intrigued for sure.
It won't be the last time I talk about De Palma, I don't believe. So, nice. De Palma, one of my favorite directors of all time.
I would say De Palma's your dude.
And this one really is the one that truly opened my eyes to how versatile he could be. Because if you would have covered up the name and asked me who directed this, I would have had no idea, but it wouldn't have been Brian De Palma.
That's wild too. Yeah, I wouldn't. I saw the poster and was just looking at the Wikipedia article, and I was like, what, De Palma directed a movie like this? I'm like, that's wild.
This should be where Rocky Horror is. This should be I don't understand how the justice has not been set on this yet, but eventually maybe it will be. But come on, year before Rocky Horror Picture Show, this should be the movie people are going to at midnight, singing along to, dressing up as characters. It's got a great theme to it of not getting fucked over by the man, which was kind of a running theme of a lot of the movies I had on this section of the list. But it's just a message as old as time. It doesn't get old. And yeah, I've rewatched this probably 3-4 times since I saw it 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, it is an annual watch for me.
Nice, dude.
And it's pretty good for Halloween too. It's a good kind of got some spooky like horror elements to it as well. And somehow is rated PG, which I still don't understand.
That's wild. Yeah, I'm very intrigued. Very intrigued.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear from anybody who watches this. Please let me know, because I would love to hear other people's thoughts on it. I have undersold it, if anything, here too.
That's nah, man. You sold me on it. I'm gonna have to check that out for sure. How much time do you have today?
What are you thinking?
Well, I just if you had a few more minutes, I would like to just keep talking movies. But just let me know if you need to go or you have a.
I have to review. Like, I have to do the Why We Love Horror in a little bit, but I got, we can talk whatever here. Where you want to go?
It don't matter. I just I just like talking movies. If there was any of your movies today that you wanted to talk a little bit more about, or any just shit movie talk in general. I know obviously not spoiling any of the Why We Love Horror stuff, but just
Yeah, no. I brought up Titan a little bit ago, and I just want to again bring people's attention to Titan. Again, it's Titane. It's a French movie by Julia Ducournau. If you haven't seen Raw, another great movie. She is just the French do horror like pretty hard. What movies do you think will be surprising that didn't make the cut? Well, I mean, we did our honorable mentions. I don't want to give away too much of my list, so I will say that I don't. Let me look. I don't believe Halloween made my list. So that'd be one that's a surprise for me not to make my list. Let me
did not make mine either.
Yeah, it's one that's set so much of coming forward, but yeah, Halloween did not make my list. So that would be one I would say is one of the bigger surprises that didn't make my list. I would say I'm surprised that neither Godfather made the list, because Godfather 3 obviously didn't, but Godfather didn't make my list. Honestly, Francis Ford Coppola, I believe, did not make my list at all. And that 2 Cents has more Jim Jarmusch movies on his list than I do, because I don't believe I had a Jim Jarmusch make my top 100, which is shocking.
Dude, I haven't seen a ton of his movies, but a couple of them I just fucking love them to death, man.
Yeah, I really like him, but I don't know how he slipped through the cracks for me.
I don't have Halloween on mine, and I don't have. Yeah, I have my honorable mentions. Don't have The Godfather. I'll tell you what, the Coppola movie that was closest to making my list but did not is Apocalypse Now. That's not on my list, but I almost made the top 100.
Yeah, I'd say for me, The Conversation would be the closest to making it. Which, if you haven't seen The Conversation,
that's a good one. Yeah,
phenomenal movie. Made it in between Godfather 1 and 2. Somehow he just threw in another incredibly prescient movie. If I was going to put a Jim Jarmusch movie on my list, it would be Dead Man, Johnny Depp. So I'll be honest. No Godfather. Parlays are busted on either list. So
nope.
No Goodfellas is on my list.
Nope.
I would say that's one of the more shocking ones.
I tell you what, I like that Goodfellas isn't on your list, so I'll just go ahead and say right now, I think Goodfellas is fucking overrated. I think he's.
I would lean more towards that than anything. I'd say I prefer Casino for sure of those movies.
Like Goodfellas is good, but I just and honestly, I don't think Heat would make my top 200. I think Heat is another overrated movie. It's good, but I don't have the love for it that everyone else does. My brother would kill me to hear me say that.
I have let's see, 1, 2 yet to be said Eddie Murphy movies. Eddie Murphy is one of my favorite comedians of all time. I have 1 movie from the 30s on my list. So those are just a couple teases. I have 1 Steven Spielberg movie, or 2 Steven Spielberg movies on.
What? Bro, I got like 4 or 5.
I got 2 Steven Spielberg movies on.
They coming up soon. We might have one next week. I got to check my list, but there's a Steven is going to be featured very shortly.
I have 2 Steven Spielbergs. I have 2 Scorsese movies. Neither one are which ones you would think it is. I have 2 movies from the same action movie franchise on my list.
Ooh.
as well. Won't reveal what that is. But yeah, Goodfellas not there. Godfather not there.
Yeah, I like these teasers though, man. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a couple little teasers.
Yep, that's all I'll say. I don't want to give away much more than that.
Fair enough.
I have one Will Smith movie on my list as well, which I believe I already said. So that's not much of a tease. So no more Will Smith makes my list. No more Martin Lawrence either.
I'm crushed. I'm dead.
I don't think any more Joe Pantoliano either. So.
Joe Pantoliano? I tell you, dude.
No Joey Pants.
Have you seen Bound?
Yes. Oh yeah. Wachowski.
I love him in Bound. He's so good in that.
Yeah.
Christopher Maloney is really good in Bound too, as the douchebag son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have. Let's see. Do I only have one Coen Brothers movie on my list, which is shocking to me?
Lord have mercy, I got like 3, 4, 5.
I think I only have one Coen Brothers movie on my list.
I got about 50-11 Coen Brothers movie on mine, dude.
I got 1, 2, 3 Adam Sandlers on my list.
I have 2 Adam Sandlers.
I have 3.
That's 2.
I actually have 2 Coen Brothers movies on my list.
Nice.
So I have 1 and only 1 Marvel MCU movie on my list.
I'll tell you, since we said this, I excluded Marvel movies, but I will give y'all real quick the Marvel movies that would have made my list.
Okay. Yeah, I had 1. And it wasn't because I excluded them. It's because I don't like most of them.
Agreed. I don't have most of them rated that highly as movies in general, but
the one I like, I love, and it's high on my list.
The ones that I did have on my list that I took off, I actually executed this one. Infinity War Marvel movie. That's probably my favorite. The first Guardians would be up there too. That's honestly, dude, that's probably the only ones that I would even consider.
Now, giving away, neither one of those is it.
Nice.
Let's see. How many Nicolas Cage movies do I have? Because I love me some Nick Cage. Let's see. Nick Cage, one of my favorite actors of all time. Let's see. I have 1 Nicolas Cage. I have 2 Nicolas Cage.
How many Nicky Cage movies do I have?
I have 3 Nicolas Cage.
Really?
Is it just the 3? I think it might just be the 3. I have 1 he remade, but not the remake, so he's not in the original. So yeah, I have 3 Nicolas Cage movies. I have David Cronenberg, my favorite director. I have 1, 2, 3 David Cronenberg movies.
God.
I have as many David Cronenberg movies as I do Adam Sandler movies.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I have 2 movies by Yorgos Lanthimos. And if you don't know who Yorgos Lanthimos is, you will learn very soon.
Teach me.
Yeah, that is all I'm going to say as of now.
So I'm counting my Stevie Spielberg janks. I got 1. And I was right. Next week, the first one will be up to bat. So y'all tune in next week. My first Steven Spielberg will be on there. But I have 1, 2, 3. Jesus. I have a Steven Spielberg movie. 1 Steven Spielberg per week for the next 3 weeks. Lord have mercy.
Yep.
So that's 3, 4. I have 5 Steven Spielbergs. Starting next week, you get 1 a week, 3 in a row.
I love it. I have 2. Yeah, I have 2 David Lynch, 2 Scorsese, 2 Spike Lee joints.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Dude, I only have 1 Scorsese on mine.
I got some Scorsese coming. I got some Sidney Lumet coming. If you don't know Sidney Lumet, you're gonna know soon.
Oh, I do, sir. Yes, I do.
I have 1, 2 sequels in my top 15.
Sequels, nice.
2 sequels in my top 15.
So next week for me, a little preview for next week for me. I won't give you any direct. Well, I gave away Spielberg, but the rest I'll just say genre, and I won't say the order or anything. But there's one comedy, two. They're kind of two dramedies. I'll say they're two dramedies, a drama, straight up drama, and a fantasy. Two fantasies.
I have a Spielberg next week as well.
Nice, dude. That's what's up.
2 2000s, 3 80s movies.
Nice. I have some 90s Spielberg and Spielberg.
That'll be my last one as a free single man next week, and then we'll have to take a week off before we enter into the 80s because I will be on my honeymoon. But after that, I will be back. Maybe it's Infinity War, but actually I told you it wasn't, so it's not Infinity War.
Get that one away.
But I think we covered it for this week, man. I think this has been a good week. I'm looking forward to hearing our list next week. But this has been a nice to get a punt on my side finally.
Dude, cash it.
I'll be interested to see if we have the same Spielberg next week. That should be good.
Yep. Tune in next week, same time, same place.
4 p.m. Wednesday, and then we'll figure it out if we re-enter MMA in 2024. But we have plenty of time to figure that out before then. Maybe we'll start to do 2 shows. Who knows? But thank you as always. Always a pleasure to talk movies with you, brother.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate you coming through. If you got any final words or just want to call it there. Why We Love Horror. Support the channel if you can. If not, then well, that's fine. We'll survive and we'll keep making them. Tomorrow at 5 p.m., Ready or Not review drops. Thank you for having me. That's it. Cool, man. Thank you. Once again, we will be back next week to keep it going. You heard the man with Why We Love Horror. So yeah, man. Thank you again. Thank you to everyone that came through. We had 7. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, organic. That's what we do. Appreciate everybody who checked it out. Noah and Jack in the comments, especially killing it. Moist stopped by earlier. The general, appreciate y'all.
Yes, indeed. Thank y'all, man. Thank you. Shout and salute to the Dome. Thanks again to the missus for the overlay, and thanks to my friend and co-host Aaron for doing the show with me every week. We'll be back next Wednesday. So same time, same place. Catch y'all then. For Aaron, this is just my 2 cents. Thanks again, and see y'all next week. Peace.